Hello everyone, back tuning in today's second video. So I've already done the third and final update for the autumn of 2016 in terms of the long-range seasonal models. You can find the video to that on the homepage. It'll also be placed on the autumn updates page. And there'll be a written post with that. That'll be coming up later on this afternoon here at the website. Some quite interesting models in there again this month. So do check that out if you haven't yet done so. This is something new and unique to Gatsweather Vids that we're doing for today's second update. We are going to have a look at the long-range seasonal model from the ECMWF weather forecasting organisation. Now, their long-range model is very restricted. The access to it is very restricted. So I have been sent the charts from the August update of the ECMWF seasonal model, and I've been sent the charts for winter 2016-2017, the first sort of snapshot from this long-range model. As I say, this was generated a week or so ago. Now, I'm not able to show you those charts directly because, as I say, access to this model is really quite restricted. I think you have to pay quite a lot of money to see the charts. Directly, but I am able to recreate these charts. So in a moment, I'm going to show you 4 charts that are based, that I've drew. They're based on what I've seen from the ECMWF seasonal model. As I say, it's something very new and different at gatsweathervids.com. I've never done this before, so I hope it's okay. You have to let me know what you think about this, and particularly in terms of whether you think my anomalies are easy to understand. So I'll get on with that in a second. Before I get on with that, just to say about the access, links to articles on all the pages. You can have a browse widgets and click through the links. You'll be happy to pay for our website, and thanks so much for doing that. There's video ads on most of the pages which open up the content, and when you watch them, they close back up again, and it does all help to pay for gatsweathervids.com. So much getting involved, and thanks for doing that. There isn't a link to the ECMWF seasonal models. As I say, it is a restricted model, so the general public are not able to go and view these charts. So it's a rather odd situation. I normally say go to the links page, find a link, and go off and view the charts yourself. With ECMWF, you can't do that. They aren't available to members of the general public. But this very kind person has sent me the latest update from the ECMWF seasonal model, and has very kindly said that I can recreate these charts myself. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So let's just start off with the ECMWF website. This is it, ecmwf.int. Now, of course, we know that ECMWF does short range models, and I include them in the updates that we do at the website all the time. So they go out to 10 days, and those charts are freely available to the public, of course. You can find the charts from the ECMWF organisation themselves here at this website. So this is on the links page, but from here you can't get to the long range seasonal charts because they're not available to you or I directly. So what I'm going to do is start off with my version of the 500 millibar height anomaly. So this is the 500 millibar height anomaly that I've created based on the chart that I'll see for the winter of 2016-2017. Now, as always, with 500 millibar heights, it's very, very basic, by the way. I'm not particularly good at art. I've never been a particularly good able to draw or anything like that, but I think it's fairly easy to understand. It's a typical 500 millibar height anomaly in that the brighter colours extrapolate to above average heights, high pressure, but lower. The bluer colours, the darker colours extrapolate to below average heights, which is low pressure. So what we see in terms of 500 millibar height anomaly for this winter of 2016-2017 is that we have an area of above average heights, quite largely above average heights, centred towards Greenland and also towards Iceland on the latest update. So it does hint that there's northern blocking here across the far north of Eurasia and also far north of the Atlantic. Definite hints of northern blocking. Now, this yellow is above average heights, but to a lesser extent than what we have to the north. So what I've got going on here is an Atlantic ridge. We've got a mid-Atlantic ridge extending from this area of above average heights and going down through the central part of the Atlantic. Now, you'll notice this area of below average heights across central parts of Europe. So it's a fairly weak signal, but there is a signal there for an area of low pressure to be sitting somewhere around northern Germany, southern Scandinavia, around the Baltic, maybe Denmark, that sort of area. So on the face of it, what you would expect the jet stream to be doing with this is coming in something like that. And it does imply there probably is a trough within the 500 millibar flow, particularly across central parts of Europe. Now, there's one complicated factor. You would probably think that's a fairly cold anomaly, and it could be, but there is one complicated factor, and that's all this yellow that we've got going on through the Mediterranean, because that also implies above average heights around Spain and going into the central part of the Med. And to get a proper locked-in cold pattern, what you really need to do is have below average heights here. You'd be looking for low pressure, you'd be running through here, and you'd be wanting to take the jet stream on a southerly track like that. We haven't quite got that set up. I think this area of above average heights from Spain, Portugal into Med is probably extending in from this ridge that we've got going on in the mid-Atlantic. So what essentially has happened is that this ridge has to go further north and become centred in with all this northern blocking, which would then send the jet stream on a southerly track like that, and then you would expand this area of below average heights a lot across northern western parts of Europe, and then that would be enough to really lock us into a cold pattern. It isn't quite there with a locked in cold pattern, but it's a fairly interesting anomaly that we see for this winter in terms of the 500 millibar height anomaly from the ECMWF. So this is a temperature anomaly that the model is that it's going for. So the first area to focus on, of course, is to the north. We've got all this red, so we've got temperature anomalies there coming out around 1 to 2 degrees above average across Greenland, parts of Iceland as well, and generally to the north. So up here, we're around 1 to 2 degrees above average. That's still going to be very cold, of course, for Greenland, for Iceland, 1 to 2 degrees above average in midwinter. Still going to be really cold. Now, coming down to western parts of Europe, the anomaly isn't as warm, so it shows that across parts of Wales, southwest England, also the west of France, down into Portugal and much of Spain, we're around half a degree above average, so very close to average, a little bit above average in the far west of Europe in this yellow area just here. And then that leads further east, so we're talking about much of France, the eastern part of Spain, going through the Mediterranean in towards Italy as well, I mean down in towards southeastern Europe. So this area just here that's in that sort of darker orange colour, those areas are coming out around a degree above average. So it is seeing quite a mild winter for southern parts of Europe. Now, the rest of Europe, which includes the bulk of Ireland, which includes the whole of Ireland, the UK, most of northern France into the Low Countries, Denmark, Germany, further east in towards Poland, east of that in towards Ukraine, and going north in towards those northeastern countries like Latvia, and then coming back in towards Scandinavia. So, we've got Norway just here, Sweden just here, Finland just here. All that area, it's a big area, that is coming out with no clear signal. It's coming out, the model suggests it's coming out around average, but I think what's probably going on there is that at least some places have probably been overestimated with the temperatures a little bit. So particularly where we've got that trough within the 500 millibar flow, which is this part of Europe just here, that area is likely to be coming out quite cool, I would have thought, but the model doesn't show it. It just shows this big area that has no colour and has average temperatures this winter. Remember, this is the temperature anomaly, or this based on the temperature anomaly from the ECMWF model for winter 2016-2017. Precipitation looks like this. You can see the trough through central parts of Europe rather better there. It's where we've got this blue area just here, and that's the area we've got above average precipitation. So we're coming out anything around or up to 50 millimeters, a couple of inches, in terms of the anomaly to average. So say 50% of average. That's our anomaly. We're coming out with above average precipitation in that central part of Europe. And it also implies that, again, out in the Atlantic, we're generally a bit drier than average, so about 50 millimetres down on average. And to the far north, actually, it is very dry across Scandinavia, parts of Iceland. It hints at quite a dry winter up there, where about 100% of average, or 100% below average, in that area to the far north of the country. So Central Europe about 50% above average. The Atlantic area, where we've got this ridge, this does show the ridge quite nicely, extending through the central part of the Atlantic there. We're anything up to around 50% below average. And then to the far north, it does turn drier, where we've got all this blocking up here with the yellow. There we have quite a dry winter. Of course, remember, these are anomalies to average, so even then, Iceland is still going to have quite a wet winter because it is a pretty wet place. And again, through the Mediterranean, we're coming out a bit drier than average there as well. Again, generally 0 to 50% below average, so not a big deviation, but it does imply again that we have got a little bit of drier than average condition, maybe a little bit of high pressure through this central part of the Mediterranean, which is a complicated factor. If you want a cold winter, you want to get rid of that, have a wet winter there through the Mediterranean with jet stream coming through. Elsewhere, again, there's no clear seal. So most of Scandinavia, UK, Ireland, France, Spain, Portugal, you would expect Spain to be drier than average if there's a ridge extending in off the Atlantic, by the way. So that's a little bit odd. You would expect all of this area really to be quite dry. It doesn't show that. It just shows average or no signal for Spain and Portugal, as it does for France and UK. Ireland, much of Scandinavia included also. Southeastern Europe generally coming out a bit drier than average around the Greek islands. Elsewhere, no clear signal, say, through the Balkans. Finally, having a look at the mean sea level pressure chart that I've created based on the chart that I've seen. So this is what it suggests, and again we see that the mean sea level pressure is generally coming out quite a bit above average to the north. So where we've got all these red colours, it's indicating high pressure around Greenland, Iceland, Svalbard to the north of Scandinavia. This sort of area and extending back in towards the North Pole. It does imply there's quite a lot of northern blocking there. Those heights, the high pressure, does extend a bit further south, albeit more weakly, down towards the north of Scotland, in towards parts of Norway and Sweden as well. And then, of course, got this blue area just here. So that it implies that the centre of the trough is really through the Baltic, this area just here, and in towards northeastern parts of Europe. But you'll notice there's a lighter blue area where the mean sea level pressure isn't as low through these areas, which are talking about Denmark, Germany, in towards some parts of Poland, maybe into Ukraine as well. This area just here isn't as low with the surface pressure, but nevertheless it is below average. It is a low pressure area just here. And again, that leaves much of Western Europe actually with no clear signal. But if this is right, it's a big if, it's a long way off, it's only August. If this is right, we would probably see at least some cold incursions from this, I would have thought, because you'd have this high pressure up to the north, you'd have the low pressure across central and east parts of Europe, and in between, I think at least at times, you would get a squeeze of winds from the north, maybe the northeast. You're bringing the air from Europe, from this trough, where we've got all the cold air entrenched within this trough. So I reckon that would be generally quite a coldish pattern that we'd have going on there through the winter of 2016-2017. So that's how the ECMWF model, that's how I've interpreted the seasonal update from the ECMWF model to start us off. I hope you found the charts easy to follow. They're very, very basic, but of course, I can't recreate those charts I've seen in exact detail because, again, I'll be getting into the realm of the chart access being restricted. But I think you get a broad idea about what the model is doing for this winter. It does look quite interesting. It isn't a classic winter pattern that it's going for yet because you need to get jet stream going through Mediterranean. There's not much suggestion of that, but there is the suggestion of a mid-Atlantic ridge. There is the suggestion of blocking around Greenland, Iceland. And they've got this cold trough. It would be cold underneath the blocking, sitting across central and northeastern parts of Europe. So a fairly interesting update to start us off. I'm hoping I'll be able to do this every month going up to the winter for you, to give you a broad idea about what the ECMWF seasonal model is showing. So, of course, in a couple of weeks, it's all going to be kicking off. 2 weeks today, we'll start the winter updates where we won't just be looking at models, we'll be looking at things such as El Nino, so all that kind of thing, sea surface temperature anomalies in the Atlantic, how quickly snow cover advances across Siberia and Russia in October, all of the things that we look at on a week-by-week basis. We'll start looking at all of that in a couple of weeks' time. So that's how the ECMWF model is looking for the August update of the winter of 2016-2017. Hope you found the video interesting. It is very different to what we normally do at Gasworthy's, and I've had to do a lot of work to interpret those charts. It's been a bit harder for me in my case of just putting the chart up and showing it to you. I've had to reinterpret. So more work for me, but I hope you enjoyed the video. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching.